Hey guys, what's going on? I'm sitting here on a beautiful boardwalk in Coney Island, New York. Beautiful day here. It's nice breeze and perfect time to do my long-awaited vlog about something that I've been testing for several months now, because I wanted to give you guys a fair review after thorough writing and just making sure I tested the product well before I can actually tell you my opinion about it. So what we're gonna review today is this beautiful Enzo e-bike. Check out this beauty. I got the white version right here. I'm gonna tell you all about it. Let me just tell you a little bit of a story first of how I got it. So I'm not going to give you all the specs because you guys can go online and look up all the specs for the bikes yourselves. However, I'm going to tell you a few things. A, why I chose an e-bike. B, why I chose Enzo bike, and just the whole process, because I'm sure if I was confused or if it was not easy for me, probably the same goes for you guys. So to start off, I live in New York City. I love bike riding, and I have a hybrid bike myself. I have a Trek, which I had for several years now. I do like long distances, but over the years I started seeing I started seeing people riding e-bikes, and I got curious. But then something that threw me off having an e-bike was, the purpose of having a bike is to get exercise. And I was thinking that if I get something with a motor, that would be like cheating. However, I decided to give it a shot. The reason why is because I like to go long distances, and a lot of times when you go far, it's exciting. But when it's time to go back home after you're like 20 miles deep, and you're like, you kind of feel tired, so it's not as exciting to go back home. So, it was summer, and that's why I think it was around late May, early June, that's when I wanted to get an e-bike. I went online, of course, Amazon. I got so confused because, when you go online, you look at reviews, which cannot fully be trusted. And, bike is something that you have to actually feel. You have to actually, it's got to be part of you. You got to feel the energy, you got to feel the motor, you got to feel the speed. You just got to feel it. So what I did is I looked online and I found an e-bike store, actually a couple of them. And then I started giving them a call. Now, mind you, this is during coronavirus. A bunch of them are closed, and I found one here in Brooklyn, and it seemed credible. So the guy picked up the phone, asked him what he has in stock. He's 15 minutes away from me, so I just drove out there, and it's cool that they let you test drive the bikes, because again, I wanted to see exactly what kind of specs I wanted. So, long story short, there's a couple things I knew off the bat. Right away I knew that I want a bike that's small and that's folded, that you can fold. The reason is because, I want to be able to throw it in my trunk, and if I'm going somewhere, let's say if I'm going on a family vacation or just away, I want to be able to throw the bike in the trunk and bring it with me. I don't want to be limited to the bike not being able to be mobile, meaning if I can't carry it with me in the car, because these e-bikes are heavy. Right, so I figured that it's not like a regular bike that you could just put in, in the back of the trunk, right? Because these bikes are 50 pounds average or greater. I don't want to drive, 80 to 100 miles somewhere for a vacation, have 50-pound bike, attached to the back of my trunk, and then have it fall down. That's something that I'd be afraid of. So I wanted something that I can fold, put in the back of my trunk. So that's the one requirement I had. So I went to the e-bike shop, and he had one bike that I tried, 350 watt motor, which was good. Then I tried another one, which I really liked, 500 watt motor. The problem was that the 350 watt motor was not foldable. 500 watt motor bike was foldable. So that's what attracted me to the 500 watt motor. I tried both, but then I realized, wow, 350 watts is actually just what I need. So fortunately for me, the bike shop was located on the street, and you can go right up the steep hill which is right next to the bike shop. So I was able to test both bikes. Actually, I test drove 3 bikes uphill. And let me tell you something. 350 watt motorbike, 500 watt motorbike, and another 500 watt motorbike. They were both excellent going uphill. So I realized right then and there that for what I'm going to be using it for, 350 watts is perfect for me. Now there is also a 250 watt motor. So what you can do is you can get 250 watts, 350 watts, and 500 watt motor, and 750 watts. But I knew that 350 is perfect for me because I'm not going to be carrying too much stuff on it. Maybe some light groceries or just things like, a boombox or, light cargo. Because again, for me, it's mostly exploring the city, exploring the beach, things like that. But this bike shop did not have a 350 watt motor foldable bike that I wanted in stock. It was 3 months to wait to get it in stock, so I went on Amazon. Problem with Amazon is there's so many bikes and the ratings and you can't really see them, and for me it was confusing because you would have bikes that vary in price, and you would have bikes with powerful motors, powerful batteries, and they're cheaper, and then other bikes are more expensive than it's very hard. Again, for me it was hard to tell based on the ratings themselves. So on YouTube, I actually saw a bunch of bike reviews as well, and then I saw a review for Enzo bike. So the reason why I actually stopped at Enzo because I really love the design. I wanted something that that has that like sturdy and futuristic look to it. Another thing that really attracted me to Enzo, the battery is concealed. I didn't want to have the bike that has the battery attached to it. So a lot of the bikes, they have battery in the back, like right by the seat. And I wanted something that looks clean, that the battery is hidden. So Enzo has a hidden battery, which was awesome. So I went on Craigslist. That was my next step. Craigslist is a place where you can buy or sell used goods, for those of you who do not know. And on Craigslist, I saw a white Enzo bike and, for sale. And it was, fortunately enough, 20 minutes away from me. I live in Brooklyn. The guy who's selling it is in Staten Island. So I made an appointment with him, and then I went to see the bike. But before I went to see the bike, I spent 2 days researching Enzo bikes. And the problem with Enzo bike is there's no reviews on YouTube. There's only one review from a website. It's a 30-minute review, but it's sponsored by Enzo. And it is, that website, by the way, reviews so many e-bikes, but they're all sponsored by the brands who produce them. So I was a little skeptical of that. However, it's a thorough review, and because of that, I was able to learn a lot about the functionality of the bike, the features, and things like that. So, and it looked good. The review looked awesome. So I went to see the guy, and before I went to see the guy, there was another bike that I found in Connecticut, because again, everything locally here in New York was sold out. So I found another folding bike, 500 watt motor. Again, Enzo is 350 watts. Also, the battery is it's a bigger battery because the motor is bigger, and it's also like a pretty sleek. I forgot the brand, but it's a sleek folding bike. However, the battery is attached to the back. You can see the battery; it's underneath the seat, and I almost went to Connecticut to test it, and it was 2.5 hour drive, but I almost went to Connecticut to test it and buy it. But I did not. Something happened at work, I couldn't go. So long story short, I went to Craigslist, met the guy with an Enzo bike, saw the bike, drove it, was awesome. I got it for $1,600 cash. The bike is $1,950 if you get it from the manufacturer. I think it's like $1,850 now on discount, but still, it was like about $250 discount, $300 discount. Mind you, this bike had 7 miles on it, because every e-bike has an odometer, so it had 7 miles on it. The reason the guy was selling it is because he's a fisherman and he wants something where he can place his fisherman gear on and go potentially on a trail you know, which is not like a paved road. So and I'll tell you right now, now I know that this is not the bike for it, and he realized that Enzo is not the bike for that type of adventure. You know, the Enzo is more for like city riding, pavement, grail, but it's not for off-road biking. You need like a fat tire bike. So there's a lot of those, like, for those of you who are familiar, there's a lot of bikes with fat tires. You know, a motor probably 500 to 750 watts as well. You know, so I totally understood it. What I also did is I called the owner who owns Enzo, and I, you know, asked him. I gave the serial number and I said, hey, planning to purchase this bike pre-used, pre-owned, would the warranty still be valid? You know, just covered all my grounds. He said, yeah, no problem. So long story short, I gave the guy, you know, $1,600 and took the bike with me, threw it in the trunk. It actually took about, you know, 40% of my trunk space, which is exactly what I was looking for. Came home, and you know, to this day, I can tell you that I've been riding the bike for about June, July, August, September, you know, 3 months solid, you know, and I'll give you the pros and the cons of the bicycle, but hopefully the way I picked this bike gave you a little bit of you know, clarity. Because one thing I'll tell you is I didn't have anybody else who had an e-bike, so it was very hard for me to get somebody's advice. But I learned also something after getting this Enzo bike, is not to jump ahead, but I think this is important, is that a friend of mine got an e-bike off Amazon, and I just saw him a few weeks ago. And this is after, obviously, you know, I had Enzo bike for, you know, X amount of months. But he got an e-bike off Amazon. I do not remember the brand. It looks just like an Enzo, however, it's a little bit bigger, right? It has fat tires, so it's good in the snow. That's how they market it. My motor is 350 watts. His is 500. Okay. So the battery is also bigger. So by the specs, the bike totally outperforms my bike. So we met at Central Park, New York City last week, and you know, first thing we did is like, hey, let's try each other's bikes. So I hopped on this bike and I put it to, you know, pedal assist 1, pedal assist 2. And let me tell you something. In my head, I was like, wow, this is really slow. This is so much slower than the Enzo bike. I didn't say it right away. But then I was like, all right, cool. Let me ride yours, you ride mine, and let's ride it a little bit. Just, you know, test it out. And this guy, he's like, I can't keep up with you. And I was like, what? He's like, yeah, I cannot keep up with you. I'm like, wow, really? And I kind of, in the back of my head, I knew it because, again, I tried his bike, and I was like, this is really slow. I just didn't want to say it to him to disappoint him. But he said he couldn't keep up with me. And let me tell you something. Again, the specs in his bike was so much higher than mine, and it was actually pretty light too, so it's not like it was too heavy. So my biggest advice to you guys is do not look at the specs, do not read the specs, and don't just go by what it says about the battery, what it says about the motor, because that's one thing I learned about the Enzo. Why it shows the Enzo is because you gotta look at how the bike is built. You gotta look at all the parts, how it's assembled, right? Not just the motor strength and, you know, the battery life and things like that, because there's a lot of details that you really need to be cognizant about. And again, the best example is my friend who I met up with, and you know, if you look at his bike specification, they outperform mine on paper, but in real life, not at all. So next, what I'm going to do is I want to give you a quick, you know, view of my bike, and I'm going to tell you the pros and the cons as well. So one thing, guys, is I'm not going to give you the full specs of the bikes, because, you know, you can log online and you can see all the specs as well. And then there's, you know, on YouTube you will find one review. By the way, the problem was for me that I couldn't find a lot of reviews, either video or just reviews in general about Enzo. But the ones that I did see, they were really, really good. So, you know, that was also something hard for me. But again, what my objective is, for those of you looking for an e-bike or interested in Enzo bike, I want to actually tell you, you know, I'm not sponsored or paid by Enzo. I paid for this with my own money. I just really want to give you a fair review, hopefully to make this journey easier for you. So here's the bike, and one thing is that it's really well made. Okay, the quality is excellent, and the top speed I was able to achieve on this bike was today. I could actually go 28 miles. It's supposed to be capped at 20, but I was going a little bit downhill. Plus, I had the pedal assist all the way up to level 5, and it did 28 miles. So acceleration on this bike is excellent. Let me just kind of zoom in about the parts. So the tires, let's see. This is the tires, and I love the wheels. The wheels are so firm just because you don't have the little spokes. So this bike is supposed to be not just waterproof. It's supposed to be, not just water resistant. It's supposed to be waterproof. So these tires are really, this is like steel, It has a standard Shinamo 7-speed transmission, okay? And this is all like very sturdy. By the way, the pedals, see if you're folding the bike, the pedals fold. So the motor is enclosed here. And if it's raining, snowing, whatever it is, the motor is perfectly safe, okay? The backlight. So this doesn't automatically turn on and turn off. You have to press the button right here to turn it on and off. Here, is where I can put all my stuff, which is usually, my workout gloves, like a boombox. I'm actually considering getting maybe like a little, I don't know, like something in the back here so I can place if I'm getting groceries or something like that. So the seat, very, very comfortable. Another thing I like about this bike is that there's always a handle if you want to lift it up here, because again, this bike is around 50 pounds, right? So it's not like a light bike. So you want to be able to kind of lift it anywhere you go, right? So when you fold it, it's very easy to kind of grab, right? That's important to me. So this seat, super comfortable. I rode this bike for hours, and the seat is awesome. All right, so the frame, really well made. Now, okay, this is where you actually charge the bike. This is the key. Again, just the pedals. So this is the front light. The cool thing about the front light is this turns on automatically. So when it's dark and you power the bike on, the front light turns on, and when you power the bike off, the front light turns off. So that's awesome. So here's the brakes, disc brakes. Let me tell you something, the brakes are excellent, and I know about practice because I live in New York, and sometimes, even though we have bike paths, but at the same time, there's some drivers who don't pay attention. So the brakes are awesome. No complaints, they were tested.
You've been reminding me all week.
This is where the bike actually folds in half, okay? And by the way, I just got these two things right here in case I want to attach something, to the back of the bike. So the longest distance I was able to achieve on this bike was 33 miles. So I did 33 miles, and out of 5 bars, I had 1 bar left. So by my guesstimation, I could probably do definitely 40 miles. Now it depends on a lot of things. It depends if you're going uphill, if you're going downhill, or how many hills you're going up. Also, what level of pedal assist you're using. I use in the throttle. So as far as some of the things I was able to achieve on this bike is the top speed I was able to achieve was today, it was 28 miles. So this bike's are capped at around 20 miles. That's the low, because I think above 20 miles you have to have a license plate and you have to have a helmet to wear. But I was able to, speedometer was indicating 28 miles an hour, and I was going downhill. So that's the top speed I was able to achieve. As far as acceleration, the acceleration is excellent. So this bike again has power. Some of my friends who have not the bike, one of my friends has a scooter which goes really fast, and even he said, wow, this is like a really quick e-bike, Then my other friend again, who has his e-bike, which is supposedly on paper much better. However, listen, his acceleration is not even close to what this bike can do. throttle. So this has pedal assist and throttle as well, so you can just push the gear forward, and if you really don't want to pedal, you can just sit back, and it's gonna do all the work. The motor is gonna do all the work. The only thing is it eats up the battery a lot quicker. I don't use throttle, very, very rarely. However, I did throttle all the way from the beach to my house, which is about 2.5 miles. No problem. I was doing 22 miles an hour. But again, this is something I do if I know that I have plenty of battery left and I just want to relax, chill out. So again, the cool thing is that there is an option. I want to be able to have as many options as I can. Doesn't mean that I have to use them all, but I want to be able to have those options in my disposal. Pedal assist, there's 5 pedal assist modes for this bike. I usually do pedal assist level 3 or level 4. 5 is, you just, motor takes over pretty much. Size of the bike, excellent. It's compact. You can throw it in the back of your car, and that's something that was very important to me. By the way, another thing that I noticed is that, it's a bicycle, so which means it's always, moving around, and you're going off the curbs, it's going off uneven ground, pavement and things like that. So it's definitely something which you want to be put together well, because there's so many moving parts in this bike, bolts, screws and nuts and things like that, so you don't want something to get shaky on you. Because I learned when I was looking at my friend's e-bike, even the seat, when he would adjust the seat, just the way the seat would adjusting and the way you would kind of close that leather, he went over a speed bump and the seat just started moving down just because it wouldn't close properly. So again, those little details that you might not think about, but it's important. So you really want something that's quality built, and I mean all the way through, because last thing you want to do is ride a bike and then have to adjust your seat every 20 minutes or every time you're going over a speed bump, because it's kind of losing its focus. Also, another cool thing that this bike has, so this is actually an air pump. So if you pull this out, right, if you pull the seat out, it actually, there's an air pump in the very end, and you can pump your tires using this. So by the way, here's the air pump. So you can move the seat. See, right here. So let me just make sure you guys can see it. Here it is. See? Here's the air pump. So I think that's pretty genius, because again, on my hybrid bike, I have a separate air pump attached to the bike, just in case, because I want to be prepared. What if I'm riding somewhere and the tire deflates? So right now, right, this is the key. Oops. All right, turning it on. All right, it's about to turn on right now. So we see it's in level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's 5 levels of pedal assist. Eco mode, normal, and power, which means when you're pedaling, so if you're doing throttle, this is throttle right here. So if you're pushing throttle, obviously it's using just power. But this is, if you're pedaling mostly, then you're not using as much battery. If you're pedaling in battery, then it's telling you that there is, it's normal. Power is when you're barely using your feet, and the motor is doing the work. And this is the battery level. So this is out of 6. I used up only 1 bar, and this is the odometer. It tells you how many miles overall the bike went, or how many miles you went in the current trip. This is also the phone holder right here, so it's pretty cool. I use this as well to put my cell phone in here. So this is a standard Shinamo 7-speed transmission. I think it's the low end that everybody, most bikes have, most e-bikes have. I usually have it at 7. But But as you can see, this is the brakes. Everything really made well. This is all the wiring. By the way, the wires are right here, as you can see. So everything is really neatly put together. You know, again, hopefully this guy gives you a good picture of the bike. You know, in case it's raining, whatever, you know, no water is gonna go in your back. So yeah, that's the bike overall. Alright guys, so this is basically it. This is my overview of this awesome Enzo bike. I hope you guys, you know, enjoyed my journey of how I actually got the e-bike, and hopefully my explanation of, you know, why I chose to make the decision that I made and why I went with Enzo, you know, made sense to you, and hopefully now you're a little bit more clear as to how to make your decision if you're planning to get an e-bike. Now again, I'm not saying that Enzo is the bike for everybody. It's not. It depends on, you know, your lifestyle. It depends on how and where you bike, you know, but you know, if you're somebody who is biking like me, you know, maybe like a urban environment, you know, this is an awesome bike. But if you're somebody that's planning to, you know, go off-road, carry larger loads, then, you know, you need to get a different bike. And there's other awesome bikes that have fat tires, you know, more powerful motors. Then that's for you. You know, so for now, this is exactly what I was looking for. So thank you very much for tuning in, and you know, I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys got to say about the comments, if there's any fellow Enzo bike owners out there. But for now, I'm enjoying the bike. Again, I have no complaints. I would definitely recommend this to anybody who is in the market. Thanks guys, till next time, bye.